This is Hole in One Golf's final presentation. First speaking is Aaron Gray. I'll be going through assignments A1, A2, and A3. So A1 was the kickoff meeting. The kickoff meeting was held by me. I'm the PR specialist, Jackson Medvedev. He's the HR manager, Jennifer Biggs, who is the financial advisor, and Thomas Copley, who is the project manager. I listed it in this order because that's the order that we will be presenting this slideshow today. The first thing we did was come up with an idea for the project, which we use the user story, which is as a blank, we want to blank for so that blank. So we came with this as a youth athletic association, we want to build a golf course so that the youth in the community will have another choice for sports. The next thing we did was the assumptions and risk chart. That's a statement and then whether it's an assumption, a risk, or something else. So one of the statements that we had was land donated is usable for a golf course. That's an assumption because land has to be suitable for a golf course. Another statement we made was the project sponsor will coordinate well with project manager and other leads. That's an assumption that the sponsor and the manager share business ethics and a risk because there can be a clash between the two, which will not be good for the project. Also in A1, we had our SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So for example, like our measurable for this project is to obtain 80 youth signups for the program before the grand opening. Another thing is the relevant, the R. Youth involvement is static and fitness as an all-time low. So we want to create this golf course to help raise youth fitness and get kids involved in athletics and sports. A2 was making a strong business case. The first thing we did was the business case, and some of the excerpts that we have are listed here, like the goal, and then being a nonprofit organization, Hole in One Youth Golf will face a financial constraint. Children who participate will not pay any membership fees or upfront costs. So that does put a little bit of a strain on us with not charging, but we do have rentals, and we also have a clubhouse where we will sell, concessions and things that people can buy to play golf or just merchandise that they don't need, but it will help us out tremendously. Another part of A2 was the NPV, payback period, and ROI. Those calculations are listed below and to the right. So on the bottom, we have our NPV, which has the green highlight underneath period, and that breaks down how much we're going to make and spend every year, and our payback will be within about 5 years. On the right is the ROI. The next thing we did for A2 was the elevator pitch, which we had to record a video for. Some of the things that we said were like, our target market is Boone, and it has many opportunities for youth community sports, but many cannot afford traditional community sports because of membership fees or equipment costs. What we want to do is eliminate those membership fees and equipment costs for kids to be able to be involved in sports. Next was A3, the project charter and preliminary scope statement. So the project charter, the first thing we did was the approach for it. The approach was, contacting sponsors to try and get them to donate to us. We're going to have fundraising events and advertising. We're going to try and acquire golf clubs and equipment and merchandise and things like that, some of which we'll sell, some we'll rent, and others will just be used for the kids coming and playing for free. We also had a constructive comment from our land donator, which was Bill Baumgartner. He said, I like the direction Hole in One Youth Golf is going. But he suggested we work on our marketing and maybe using radio or flyers, which we agreed with. Then we had our preliminary scope statement. We had our milestones. The two examples I have are our milestones. By February 15th, we wanted our funding. By March 1st, we would start construction and be done on May 1st. So within a few weeks of getting funding, we would start construction, and within 2 months of construction starting, we would hold our grand opening. We also have the WBS work breakdown structure on the right, which breaks down, our three broad steps, acquire the funding, construct the course and clubhouse, and then finally construct a parking lot and have our grand opening. And the next thing we did, the final thing for A3, was we got signatures from all four of our group members and Bill Baumgartner, our project sponsor. Our stakeholders would be our, the board, the four of us, our volunteers, and anybody that we hire, and our project coordinators. Some of their responsibilities would be to represent in a positive manner, also upholding the mission statement and values and beliefs of the organization, showing up on time, keeping landscaping clean, and doing what we can to make our company look good. The external stakeholders are the sponsors and the donators, the community around us, the schools, which we plan to take most of our proceeds past what it takes to operate and donate back to the school systems in the surrounding areas. The responsibilities of these people are trying to find joy in giving back and participating in hole-in-one youth golf. Next up is Jackson. Jackson will be going over A4, A5, and A6. Thank you.
Go to the work breakdown structure with dictionary. This is the key for our WBS. It has 4 sections: funding, construction, staffing, and grand opening. These are the 4 main parts that we thought would be crucial to starting this golf course. Next, you can see our actual WBS with funding, construction, staffing, and grand opening, all with subcategories below. And then here's our WBS dictionary. This is everything in our WBS. It's a little description for each of them. And here's our signature from our sponsor. And then A5, this is our cost estimation budgeting sheet. We've split it into 4 main parts like you saw before, with funding, construction, staffing, and grand opening. Construction is the biggest part, takes up 80%, and funding and staffing are the smallest, grand openings at 10%. And here you can see the estimated percent of the project, estimated cost, and estimated time in hours. And then after we did that, we were able to give a low, average, and high estimate for cost estimation. And for A6, this is the Gantt chart we made for our project. Here you can see highlighted in yellow the critical path for our project, and then you can see here how we use the key to highlight the critical path. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Jackson. My name is Jennifer Biggs, and I am the financial advisor for this project. I'm going to go over our hole-in-one project risk breakdown structure and risk register. The risk breakdown structure is a very important part of project management. It is a good tool to try to foresee any issues that may arise and what steps we might take to mitigate the impacts of those risks. In reality, a risk breakdown structure for a golf course project could be very lengthy. Our project team used a group brainstorming session and has chosen to try to hit on a few of the major risks due to time constraints. The RBS organizes the project's risk into 4 major categories: technical, project management, organizational, and external. Using this information from the RBS, a risk assessment matrix is designed and used to assess and classify risk. The risk value is the product of the likelihood multiplied by the impact and multiplied by the detection difficulty. We have chosen to color code our risk management matrix to show the likelihood, impact, detection difficulty, and the overall risk value. Red signifies high or extreme values, yellow to show the medium values, and green to show the less impactful values. Now that we have figured out what the project risks are and what impact the risk could have on the project, we can look to develop the risk response matrix. The risk response matrix is designed and used to ensure that a company, project, or person is properly prepared to manage and respond to the risk in an effective manner. When a risk event is identified and assessed, a decision must be made concerning which response is appropriate for the specific event. Responses to risk can be classified as either mitigating, avoiding, transferring, or retaining. For most of our risk events, we chose to use the most common route by mitigating the risk. Mitigating or reducing the likelihood that the risk will occur seems to be the best route for most of our project risk. If reducing the likelihood is not possible, then we chose to reduce the impact that the risk will have on the project with a contingency plan. The risk response matrix also shows the trigger for the risk and who will be responsible. Using the previous data, we can further analyze the project risk with a risk assessment matrix. The risk assessment matrix analyzes the probability of occurrence for the risk and helps to increase the visibility of the risk. This assessment value is calculated by using the product of the likelihood by the impact. The matrix is divided into red, yellow, and green zones representing major, moderate, and minor risk. After the risk analysis, we worked on change management and was asked to submit a change request form. Change management is the process used to identify, document, and remediate changes in a project. That change could alter the scope, budget, resourcing, and timeline of a project, or it could just alter an existing project requirement and nothing else. In our change request, we had the need to push back our grand opening for 3 weeks because the weather caused construction delays. In A8, we went over the RACI charts, which is used as a responsibility assignment chart that maps out every task, milestone, and key decision involved in completing a project. It assigns which roles are responsible for each action. The responsible team member does the work to complete the task. Every task needs at least one responsible party, but it's okay to have more. It also shows which personnel are accountable. This person delegates work and is the last one to review the task or deliverable before it's deemed complete. On some tasks, the responsible party may also serve as the accountable one, but you only have one accountable person assigned to each task or deliverable. The RACI chart also shows who needs to be consulted. Consulted parties are typically the people who provide input based on either how it will impact their future project work or their domain of expertise on the deliverable itself. And finally, the RACI chart shows who needs to be informed. These team members simply need to be kept in the loop on the project progress, rather than roped into the details of every deliverable. And now I'm going to let Thomas speak about project crashing.
So A9, assignment 9, was our crashing chart and graph. And so the crashing example identifies WBS task. This covers the activities of WBS task, crash costs, slope, maximum time allowed in hours. This identifies the normal duration and the normal cost of the project. This covers the crash duration and the crash cost of the project. As well, this crashing assignment helped us determine how much time is needed for each WBS task. The crashing chart covers the finances of the project, and both normal finances and cost and the crash costs. This kind of helps us identify the critical path of the project through the WBS deliverables. As well, it's a measure of least expensive to most expensive paths. And this is how we're able to find our critical path for the project. And so the formula for this is crash cost minus the normal cost divided by normal duration minus crash duration. And this is how you find the crash slope. for the project through the crashing chart and graph that we did on assignment 9. This next slide is just a screenshot and picture of our crashing assignment that we did in week 9. Again, it has all our WBS IDs, ID numbers. It has our activities that need to be done first, as well as all our deliverables for every WBS task. For example, advertising fundraisers. And after doing the formula on Excel, we were able to find the crash cost and the slope from doing our formula that I showed in the recent slide. This chart just covers maximum crash time in the hours, normal duration in hours, normal cost, as well as the crash cost. And it shows the crash duration in hours. And we did all this through Excel spreadsheet. And this is a picture of our crashing map. And this is our least expensive crash map. And this is our critical path needed. We also did our most expensive. And this is how we were able to find the critical path. So for assignment A10, this is our dependency map. The dependency map is measured by good, medium, and poor relationships with our entities. The entities for this project included donors, staff, volunteers, construction workers, landscapers, architects, local government, caterers, and team members of the project. Donors were a good relationship because of good cooperation and donation of funds that helped to make the project a success. The staff was a good relationship because they relay good information to the visitors and provide good resources. The entities, the construction workers, landscapers, and architects have a medium relationship because they provide good feedback and how the project is going and status updates, as well as any mishaps that go on in the project. I put all this together because it all has to do with construction for the project. Local government was a medium relationship. This is because there's good cooperation with city guidelines and laws. However, it does lead to some challenges for the project, but the project must follow these in order to be successful. The most cooperative for this dependency map were our volunteers, and they're non-paid position, and they were able to continue to help the project become a success. And the least cooperative were the caterers. They were late, and it's a low-paying position, and there was a high turnover rate, and we ran into a lot of challenges with the caterers for this project. So that's why it's a low, poor relationship. And so for assignment 10, this is our dependency map, and we have it highlighted in different colors based on relationship of different entities for the project. And these are the team members for the project. And that's it. Thank you.